I've been doing a lot of long hikes over the last few weeks looking for new locations, and I've been keeping my camera equipment very minimal for these hikes. I've found that carrying less has made the day out more enjoyable. So today I'm going to chat about my lightweight camera setup whilst trying to capture a few landscape photos. Before we get onto the lightweight camera setup, I need to grab this shot here because conditions are looking absolutely beautiful right now. Just a touch of mist and the autumn colours creeping in too, which is absolutely fantastic. So I'm quickly going to get my tripod set up, see if we can grab one quickly. Ah, beautiful. What a beautiful start to the morning. So long-term viewers of the channel might recognise this composition here because it's a composition I've shot before. It's actually in my zine as well, and this is something that I've been working on continually for about a year now, and I think it's great, isn't it, to keep revisiting scenes, try to make the best from them, and also to see how they change during the seasons as well. Now we're creeping into autumn, we've got some wonderful colours on the copper beech tree that's in the background there. It looks absolutely amazing. So yeah, things change so much, don't they, through the seasons, and it's just great to be able to capture that. Yeah, so compositionally I think it works really well. I'm at f9 quarter of a second, ISO 160. Not going to waste any time because I'd like to see if I can bag a couple more images while this mist is hanging around. So let's go ahead and grab this image now, focusing on the nearest tree, and that gets us everything nice and sharp throughout the scene. I always enjoy taking this shot. So whenever there's mist and light around, you always get that sense that it's going to go pretty quickly, and I've got that feeling this morning, you know. It's been so warm, I just feel like this mist is going to just evaporate so quickly. So the camera and lens combo I've been using for hiking is this, the Fuji XS10, which is a really capable camera, and it only weighs 465 grams. The XS10 is a couple of years old now, and in fact there's a newer model out which I think is the XS20. However, I think the XS10 still has a lot to offer, and currently you can pick this up for between £600 and £700 on the used market, which in my eyes is a great bargain for what you get. Couple that with the 18 to 55 lens and you've got a really nice setup for less than £1,000 used. So I usually use the XS10 to film these videos with, but it is a decent stills camera too, and it offers a ton of features. It's a 26 megapixel APS-C sensor and the image quality is spot on, I reckon. I definitely have no qualms whatsoever about using this camera to shoot landscapes with. I do have another lens, what I want to talk about as well, which really complements this setup, but I really need to grab another image first before this mist dissipates, which I think might happen quite quickly. So I've been playing around with this composition for some time now, and it's incredibly bright now, shooting back towards the sun as the sun's come up over the top of the hillside there. But the scene's lovely. There's a few compromises I've got to make, as is always the case with woodland photography, isn't it? We've got this amazing oak tree here with this overhanging branch, which is being backlit, which looks fantastic. On the opposite side, there's a few more oak branches drifting over into the right-hand side of the frame, which is framing the oak or ash tree in the background. I can't make out exactly what it is from here, but yeah, looks really nice. And what I'm going to probably do is just maybe crop this to a 16:9 or something like that, because I feel the sky is too bright at the top and it's going to drag the eye straight up out the top of the frame. But I really like the mist hanging in the trees over there. It looks really nice. So yeah, I think this is a decent shot. In terms of compromises, there's a grass field at the bottom there and it's been cut for hay recently, and yeah, there's like a pathway that goes through the sort of middle of the frame. So I've positioned the tripod up quite low, so I'm including some of the foreground bushes and bracken here to try to hide that cut field, because it kind of looks a little bit sort of man-made, if you like, and not so natural. So I'm just lowering the camera down to try to hide as much of that as I possibly can. And I think, you know, it's all about compromise, isn't it? Woodland photography, you've got to move left and right, zoom in, move back, and yeah, try to eliminate as many distractions from the frame as you possibly can. And I think I've pretty much got the best of what I can get here. I quite like it, really like the backlighting on these leaves, looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah, really nice. Let's go and grab this one then. So focusing on actually the light's better now, it's more diffused. Before we were getting some flare, So f9, 1/25 of a second. Yeah, that looks much nicer. It's funny, isn't it, how the light changes just over a period of a few minutes. Wonderful. What a stunning morning. Just beautiful. So it actually feels like it's getting foggier, which is pretty amazing. Wasn't expecting that, and these beech trees look absolutely great. So I'm pretty sure I can make another image up here this morning. Yeah, stunning. So to complement the XF 18-55 lens, I have the XF 70-300, which has such an awesome reach for such a compact lens. It's also nice and light, weighing only 580 grams. Now, there is a little gap in the middle of the focal range, but for me, I'm comfortable with that because of the extra 100mm you gain in length compared to using the 55-200 lens, which doesn't leave a gap, but is obviously shorter. The funny thing is, the XS10 and the 18-55 and 70-300 weigh approximately the same weight as my XH2 and 16-55 lens. So that's a massive difference. And I reckon sometimes less is definitely more. Now, all three, the body and both lenses, have stabilisation, which is really nice, especially if you want to go super light and not take a tripod. And that's a massive plus point too. Now, there are a couple of issues to note with the XS10 and the 18-55. They're both not weather sealed and the body only has one card slot. But I've got this camera pretty wet on multiple occasions and it's dealt with it absolutely fine. So when conditions are beautiful like this, you always feel a little bit rushed, don't you? And I always keep trying to tell myself, just slow down and try to make the most out of every single scene I find. Fine-tune the composition. It's better to come back with 2 or 3 decent compositions than 5 or 6 average ones. There's nothing worse, is there, than getting back home thinking, I just wish I'd spent a bit more time on that composition because I could have eliminated that distraction from the edge of the frame or something like that. So yeah, trying to concentrate, trying not to get carried away because conditions are just beautiful right now. This scene is really painterly. It's got this wonderful horse chestnut in front of me on the left-hand side, just getting its beautiful orange tips to its leaves. I always like the horse chestnut as they turn early and the rest of the forest is still a deep green colour, which is always cool. Love that contrast. Autumn often starts earlier than you think, and that's something I've learned over the years. But yeah, it's just a collection of trees basically. We've got some beech beyond the horse chestnut and there's some rhododendron a bit further on as well with their twisty, gnarly branches. Splashes of light coming through the scene every now and again as the mist clears. But yeah, just continue to shoot a scene like this over the space of 5 or 10 minutes as the conditions are changing rapidly. So yeah, lovely little scene, this one, I think. Settings are pretty similar to before, actually. 1/8 of a second, f9, ISO 160. Again, focusing in the middle of the scene, that gives me everything sharp. And I'm not too worried if my depth of field falls away into the background there because we've got that nice mist and that adds to the separation anyway. So yes, 1/8 of a second, f9, ISO 160, 2-second timer. So I've been thoroughly enjoying this little setup over the last few weeks and I think I'll continue to use it, especially for camping trips or mountain hiking. Now, while gear is super important, in this video up here I talk about one of the most underrated but crucial parts of landscape photography, so I highly recommend checking out that video. If you enjoyed this week's excursion, please be sure to give it a like because that really does help me out. And if you fancy supporting what I do further, then please consider checking out my zine or upcoming workshops. All of the proceeds go into reaching new locations such as this. Thanks again, and I hope to see you all next week.